Hello, and welcome to Cosmic Therapy, mode of Cosmic Therapy. I am delighted that you have decided to join me today, and we're going to have a time of our lives. The last show, I ended with the fact of how identified we become with the story of our lives. So identified that it brings misery, constant misery sometimes, and confusion, and anxiety, and worry, and competition. And, is there a way that we can alleviate that? Is there a way that we can actually be in this world and maintain our existence, as was the subject of the last show, coming to life? Can we really honestly be alive? Can we be fully and totally integrated into the moment of which we are? Can I be where my feet are? Can I? Can I be here for the next 60 minutes and not be drifting somewhere else? Can I absolutely focus my energy and feel and experience what I'm experiencing without some sort of dread or concern or thought of something coming from it? If I can't, I shouldn't be on here, because I'm not only wasting my time, but I'm wasting yours as well. Life is about being and doing and having whatever it is that is happening at the moment. You know, at home, I can look outside of my window and I see these gorgeous trees. I don't think there's a place on earth that has more gorgeous trees than Raleigh. And I watch those leaves on those trees turn from buds, turn from, bare branches in the wintertime to buds, to knots, and then buds, and then blooms, and then full-grown leaves. And then I watch those leaves, they're green and they're big, and then they start to change colors back to, the amber colors and brown, and then dry up and fall from the branches to the ground to reveal the bare limbs again. But each one of those leaves, they are constant and committed to being a leaf. And they're going to serve their particular dispensation of time as a leaf, and then they're going to fall away, and then a new crop's going to come. But all of those leaves that cover those branches, there's not a single one of them that compete or compare themselves with the others. They're leaves, and they're grandly glad to be leaves. Are you grandly glad to be a human being? Are you? Are you sincerely dedicated to the purpose to see it through the end? The Bible says, those who endure to the end shall be saved. Saved. Not from some perdition beyond this world. Saved from the misery and the anxiety and the worry and the concern and the backbiting and the gossiping and the condemnation and the criticism and the murder and all of the things that go on in this life. Can you endure without knowing the end? Be fully present in this moment. Be where your feet are, where my feet are. I happen to have black shoes on today. Black pants, black and white. Somebody asked me why I wear black and white all the time. I could give you the answer that I like black and white. That could be the answer, that I could spout off to you. But I don't know what it is that dominates me, that causes me to choose the clothes that I put on my back. I don't know. You don't either. But we are so identified with the idea that we have something to do with it. You remember my story? The hand with the horse. For those of you who have not heard the story, I've got to tell you again because it's worth repeating. It's the basis of the life that I constitute. And I can't even remember when I read the story, but it was many, many years ago. Written by Martin Buber, if you will. He was 13 years old, and he lived with his grandmother and grandfather, And each day he could not wait to get off his vehicle that took him to school, whether that was a bus or not. I can't imagine him riding a bus back then. But anyway, as I remember the story, he rode a bus. And he would run to the stables, run as fast as he could, so that he could engage his energy in what brought him the most pleasure. And what was that? That was grooming his horse. But before he could groom a particular horse, there were many horses because they lived on a horse farm. But before he could groom that particular horse, he had to do the chores. He had to do those things he didn't like necessarily to do. You know, that goes back to my mother saying you have to do what you don't want to do to be able to do what you want to do. That's her Virgo way of thinking and living. But anyway, he would have to clean the stables and bring in the hay and do all the things that you have to do before he was able to engage in that relationship with his horse. But finally the moment would come and he would be able to pick up that steel brush, I think it is, and brush the horse, and brush the horse, and brush the horse. Now he had done this for several years. He recalls doing it from the time he was 8. So that was 5 years. And he had brushed that horse, and he was completely, if you want to say, you know, atonement, at one-ment. He was in the zone. He was in the U, Y-O-U, the universal U. He was in ecstasy. He had orgasm, whatever word you want to use. He was there just by the mere simple act of brushing the horse. That's all, that was it, just brushing the horse. Well, one day, when he was brushing his horse, just like he had always done so many times before, he's brushing the horse. He sees his hand. He sees his hand brushing the horse. He knew at that moment when he saw his hand that the relationship that he had constituted and was involved with for so many years was gone, simply because he saw his hand. Now you may not have gotten it yet. You may be saying, what does that mean? Of course he saw his hand, Paula. He was brushing the horse. He saw his hand. He thought that he had something to do with that relationship. He thought he was doing something to form and to constitute, to establish and to maintain that relationship and the feeling that was coming to it. He attributed it to himself. He thought, after seeing his hand, that when he brushed the horse was enjoying it, or he was enjoying it, or that he was somehow doing something that caused that act to be what it was. And that was not so. We do nothing to add to or take away from the event. And the moment we see our hands, we are filled with misery. We are filled with condemnation because we want to be recognized. We want to be thought of as special. And the moment that we do that, we see our hand, and any sort of relationship is done away with. What is happening in any involvement at the moment? With my involvement with you, mine, sitting here, black pants, black and white shirt, sitting here. My black hairband, black shoes, I have nothing to do with it. Whatever is happening between me and you, nothing or everything, good, bad, indifferent, big, little, small, grand, horrible, I have nothing to do with it. I am part of the process, but not the I, Paula, the energy that is formed between the two of us. It is a relationship that was established before I got here, not just here, today, but before I was born on the earth, which is going to bring me to astrology. You know, I always talk about that. I'm going to talk about astrology because on my site, motivecosmictherapy.com, I deal with astrology, of course. I deal with lots of things. But I mainly deal with you, the big you that all of us constitute, in coming to life. I talked about it last time. And being present, being where your feet are, being here now, not engaging your time. Do you ever think about, you'll think about it this moment that I'm going to bring it up, but when you're the most miserable, when you really are the most miserable, you are thinking about something that has already passed or something that has not yet come about. You're either looking forward to something or looking back. You're comparing something. You're competing with something. Or you are going over in your mind what has not been done, what should be done, and what you could do and didn't do, and how you lost out on something. Or you're at a certain place in your life and you're not further along than what you should be or what you think you should be. All of that is not being present. It is not being where your feet are. You are engaging in unproductive thoughts. And I think one of the last shows I pulled something about that. You know, happiness is constituted by productivity. Now, you may say, well, I work a lot. You know, I work so hard, I'm so tired, I don't know what to do. You're not really working then. If you can step back and say, well, I've done so much work and I'm tired, you're not productive. You're doing something and then you're trying to measure what you did. You can't do that. That's impossible. When your body gets tired, it'll lay down, or it'll sit down, or it'll stop. When you're hungry, you're going to eat. You don't have to think about it. You can't gauge it. You can't say what something is or is not. That's my point. And on motivecosmictherapy.com, you will see, if you visit, the site, there's a lot of activities over there that you can engage in to see how you, not me, you, if you're interested and so inclined, what's going on and how far removed you are from whatever it is that's keeping you from being where your feet are, and how involved and engaged you are in seeing your hand in everything. Now, how would I know whether you were seeing your hand or not? I don't. I can't possibly know. I can only relay where it is where I'm concerned. The amount of gossip that is in your life every day constitutes how much you're seeing your hand. The amount of commenting you're doing on any one subject, whether that be positive or negative, you're seeing your hand. How often and how much you want to know who was on the phone, who was at the door, what came in the mail, you're seeing your hand. All of these things you're going to participate in because you're a human being. But the amount of energy that you focus, if it does not flow through you, if it just does not move on, and you are so identified with thinking that what you say or what you think or what you feel is important in the scope of things, you're seeing your hand. Last time when I went off the show, I said I was going to start this show, and I usually don't do that. I usually don't carry anything over, but for whatever reason, I'm going to do it today. I said I was going to open the show up with the word hope, because I never used the word hope. I don't use it. There's no reason to hope, because hope, if we hope, we imply doubt. If we hope, we imply doubt. If we hope, we imply doubt. So if I'm saying, I hope something is going to take place, I am doubting that it will. And not only am I doubting that it will, I am formulating ideas as to the importance of it taking place. So therefore, hope has become a detraction for me because I want something to occur. So I've left the presence, and I am now into whenever this thing is going to take place. Maybe I'm saying it's going to take place in 2 weeks. So for the next 2 weeks, even though I'll be involved with other things, I will be constantly, committedly, focusedly, manipulatively, congealedly, invigoratingly, possessively, demonstrably, I like demonstratively better, demonstrably involved in this act of hoping that whatever it is that I have in my mind will come to pass. All of that activity is futile. Every bit of it. Because none of my hoping is going to cause the outcome to be any different than what it is going to be. Now I'm looking at that word futile. And then let's see what we're going to do with the word futile. But I don't want this blue. I'm going to go with pink. It might be red though. Maybe pink will be good. Futile. F. U. Now I could get real ugly. What does that say? I don't have to go very far, do I? What does that say? Okay? My point is, when you are hoping, you have left that stance of being real and true and vivacious and energetic and alive. But let's go ahead and finish the word futile. That was a little side stuff. Didn't know that was coming.